The next generation of consoles has opened up developers to create bigger and bigger games. In this video, we take a look at the top 10 most content-filled PS4 games of 2015. Number 10, Dying Light. The open-world zombie game from Techland is great. While it's not a survival horror game in the sense that it's gonna scare you off your seat, it's a fantastic open-world game with a ton of content. If you rush through the main story, that will take you about 12 to 15 hours, but there's a lot of side content as well, and you can spend so much time just exploring the world and gazing at the scenery. After you complete the game, you have the option to start a new game plus mode, which is also going to extend your playtime quite a bit. Dying Light is a great game, and for a zombie game, one of the more content-filled ones. Number 9, Assassin's Creed Syndicate. At this point, you know what you're getting out of an Assassin's Creed game. The versatile combat, the parkour gameplay, oh, and yes, how can we forget, a ton of content. You can rush through the main story of Syndicate and complete the game in 8 to 10 hours, but then you're missing out a lot of what Assassin's Creed Syndicate has. There's a lot to do in Victorian London and the 7 boroughs you can explore in AC Syndicate. The side quests are varied and are designed to fight for the power of London, so they actually have some consequences. And since exploring has been made much less tedious in Syndicate with the inclusion of a grappling hook, it makes doing everything much more enjoyable. The world is far bigger than any previous Assassin's Creed game, and it's very enjoyable doing everything. Number 8, Batman Arkham Knight. The previous Batman Arkham games also had a lot of content with all the collectibles and upgrades to be had. But what's different about Batman Arkham Knight opposed to the previous titles is that Arkham Knight features an open world realization of Gotham City. And obviously when you go from a more linear game to an open world one, more content has to be added. And Batman Arkham Knight is no exception.
I can't say I'm surprised.
Once again, the Riddler is here, including riddles, trophies, and Riddler victims. There's also plenty of side content from quests to challenges that will flesh out the world more, and it makes you want to actually do everything. Arkham Knight is a fantastic game and the most content filled out of all the Batman titles. Number 7, Bloodborne. Bloodborne is different from the rest of this list on the fact that it isn't an open world game. The majority of games that have a lot of content achieve that by having a giant sandbox, but that isn't the case with Bloodborne. The game isn't completely linear either, there are branching pathways and options for exploration. And for those that get into Bloodborne, you'll want to find everything, all the extra bosses, get all the ending, and doing that is going to take you a lot of time. And as far as how much time you're going to put into the game, considering a new player to the series will die a lot, your first playthrough will take a considerable amount of time. And even after your first playthrough, Bloodborne has a ridiculous amount of replay value, so you'll want to go back for a second or even third playthrough of the game. Number 6, Tales of Zestiria. Tales has been a JRPG series synonymous with being a time-consuming game. Tales of Zestiria is no different, but unlike the past few Tales of games, Tales of Zestiria takes the game back into an open-world setting. Like typical JRPG fare, just completing the main story is going to take you a very long time. It'll take you about 40 hours just to beat the main story. If you want to do a few of the side quests and extra content, that'll add another 15 to 20 hours. And if you want to get the ridiculously difficult Platinum Trophy, now you're looking at somewhere in the 100-hour ballpark. For JRPG fans, Tales of Zestiria is a must-play and one of the best in the genre in some time. Number 5, Just Cause 3. Just Cause has been well known because of two things, the chaos that the game brings and how huge the world is in each of the games. That's no different in Just Cause 3, you will still be blowing up a lot of things and the world of Medici is gigantic. There are so many different areas to conquer, so many side quests and extra challenges, it'll make your head spin. You can rush through the main story of the game and be done with it quickly, but no one plays Just Cause just to play through the story. It's about blowing stuff up in every area of the world, and the world is massive. If you're looking for an open world game that doesn't take itself too seriously, check out Just Cause 3. Number 4, Divinity Original Sin Enhanced Edition. Originally released on PC back in 2014, Divinity Original Sin was brought to the PlayStation 4 back in October. This is not the typical kind of RPG you see these days. This is more of an old school RPG where the game doesn't really hold your hand and you're left to your own devices for the majority of the game. There's a level of complexity in Divinity Original Sin, so it does require a level of investment from the player, but the return is well worth it. As far as content goes, there's a lot of it. The main story is going to take you at least 60 hours and then there's extra quests to do. There's reason to replay the game, there's a lot to do, and if you're a fan of older RPGs like Baldur's Gate, Divinity will be right up your alley. Number 3, Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. The Metal Gear Solid games have always been very well regarded as some of the highest quality titles in gaming, but they have never been known for being games that have a lot to do or even stray off from the beaten path. Well, that changed a lot with Metal Gear Solid 5, now an open world game taking place in Afghanistan. The amount of content in MGS5 is staggering. The main story is comprised of 50 missions, and while that does sound like a lot, it is. The side ops is going to give you even more content with over 150 missions to complete. Add into the fact that there's a lot of collectibles and just building your base, Metal Gear Solid 5 is going to consume a lot of your time and you'll have a blast playing through all of it. Number 2, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. The Witcher has always been a fantastic RPG series, so when news came that The Witcher 3 would be a gigantic open world game, fans were very excited. And the game exceeded expectations. The quality of the main story was not lost moving into an open world game. It still felt epic and was much longer than previous games. But now with so many added side quests and extra content, if you're planning on fully completing the game, expect to spend well over 100 hours. And the terrific thing about The Witcher 3 is that CD Projekt Red managed to craft each bit of content with an extremely high level of quality. And the inclusion of a new Game Plus mode only adds to the potential amount of time you'll spend with the game. If you haven't played Witcher 3 at this point, you really are missing out. And finally, number 1, Fallout 4. For all the technical issues and bugs, one thing can't be denied. Fallout 4 is one of the most content-filled games that we have ever seen, if not the most. The main story can be completed fairly quickly if you decide to rush through that, but that's not where the real joy of Fallout comes from.
You move too much!
Building your own base, doing all the different side quests, exploring Commonwealth, the amount of content in Fallout 4 is absolutely absurd. Just walking around and exploring the world and seeing everything will take you a very long time, but then add in all the different quests, weapons to collect, people to talk to. As far as pure content goes, I don't think a game has ever matched Fallout 4, and all of it has an extremely high amount of detail that builds the world of Commonwealth terrifically and makes the content very enjoyable. By now you know what Fallout 4 is, and if you're looking for a game to take the most amount of time from you possible, then there's not another direction you can look at. So that wraps up our list of the most content-filled PS4 games of 2015. Do you agree with our list? Disagree? Comment your thoughts below. Thank you for watching and goodbye.